All right, somebody just popped in and said, "Papa God, I think the new quartering video would be right up your alley." And I'm like, very skeptical until I see the thumbnail, which is here. Woke Fat Fest invites obese women to celebrate their fatness at a convention. So you know what? Let's see what we got here. I'm certainly, my interest has been piqued.
Now here's I don't know if you're looking, as a fat myself, I'm always looking for new and interesting things to do, and especially spending time around other fats.
I'm mostly just looking to eat. Because I'm a fat guy. No, my wife and I've actually been hitting the gym and losing a little bit of weight, so
that's a huge thing for me.
Okay.
And I can't fly when flying is unavailable because obviously
How'd you fly? I don't get it.
Planes are fatphobic. I want to get around.
Oh, he's making a joke about like some people. The people, listen, man, because I'm a big guy, and sometimes it can be difficult for me. I get it. Like, there's people that are like upset when people get upset that they have to sit next to a fat person. I get it. If you're a skinny person or whatever, and you have to sit next to me, it's gonna be uncomfortable, right? I'm a big guy. I get it, but I fit in one seat, so you're gonna have to just deal with the couple-hour flight because we're just going to Disney, guys. Relax. But I get it. But like, listen, if you're so big, you need 2 seats. Like, buy 2 seats and don't complain about it. Like, how are you gonna sit here and like complain? I just don't get that. Like, that's just insane to me. I understand it's hard to lose weight, but you don't have to be. And I get it's hard to lose weight. It takes a while. It takes, it's a process. I obviously am going through myself. It's not the easiest thing in the world. But I mean, I would never sit here and be like, oh my God, like, guys, it's so hard to lose weight. That's why I should get 2 plane seats for free because I'm like morbidly obese. It's just like, come on, there's like a level of entitlement there, in my opinion. It's just crazy.
Other people who also understand what it's like to be a fat. And now in Philadelphia,
I'm a guest speaker
attend what is called FatCon.
All right.
Quote, some people...
I mean, there's probably some good food there. Let's be honest, okay?
People are not in love with their body every day, but this is the body that they exist in, one of the organizers said. Now, as a fat, all right?
Jesus Christ.
There is nothing wrong with me as a human for being overweight. There's nothing wrong with somebody who's overweight inherently, other than they are unhealthy.
Like, yeah, there's nothing wrong with them as like a person, right? There's something like it's not good to be overweight, but like you're not a bad person fundamentally just for being overweight. That's what he's trying to say, and of course I agree with that.
Okay, but it's not my place to somebody who's unhealthy to say you're unhealthy and you should feel bad about it. However,
come on, dude, you're almost dead.
I stopped short of the look. I'm celebrating this. This is something to strive for. This is something to be marketed and normalized.
Is it selling obesity? I wonder. FatCon. Probably. I mean, what else would it be? Or else it would just be called a food convention. Why go to this? This is such a weird cope. My thing is, why make your whole personality around being fat? Like, I understand people bully fat people and they shouldn't, right? That's obviously a fact. Don't bully fat people for the virtue of their existence. You know what I mean? If they're on social media, I see fat people, they'll do a trend and people be like, oh my God, you're so fat. Yeah, it's mostly women that get bullied for being fat too. And so, like, I understand women like, hey, don't bully us. Hey, like, loving your body at any size, to me, or what it should be about at least, is like loving yourself enough to have the confidence to be able to work on yourself and like improve. I think that's what it originally was supposed to be, and it might have gone too far, but to go to a convention about being fat, I mean, that just sounds like a cope. Unless they have unless it's about weight loss. Oh, they even have brunch. Here are the event tickets. You can get the fat friend, plump patron, fat bay, or fat royalty. So all of them get an event pass. You all get brunch on Sunday, which is crazy because I feel like that's an expensive brunch if it's all included. Access to the vendor hall, 30 workshop. I kind of want to go to this. When is this? Oh, it's in fucking Washington. That's wild. I have to take a plane to go there. I would do it. I would do it with my wife. The fucking plane's gonna be full of fat people, though. I would hate that. That would be nuts. What vendors are gonna be there? What's included? I don't know. What's the vendor? What are the vendors there? It would probably be so bad. You know what? But if I went there, I'd go to the Funko store. I'll talk to my wife about this. Maybe I would do this. But like I was saying, why would you want to make your whole personality out of being fat? Like, it's just so stupid. Like, what a weird thing. I hate people who have, like, all their personalities one thing. Whether it's fat people or NASCAR or even sports. Like, if you're walking around, like, I think it's just so cringe. Like, have a little bit of fucking, have a little more personality. You know what I mean? Loser. That's what I'm saying.
That I don't agree with. Being overweight shortens your life. It costs other people money through increased insurance costs. It makes other people uncomfortable when they have to sit next to you in shared spaces. All sorts of things like that. Of course, I bought my ticket for FatCon. Of course.
I kind of want to go to this.
3 Philadelphia women who have taken the contemporary wave of authenticity a notch higher by organizing FatCon, a conference tailor-made for people with a higher than average body mass index. Just say they're overweight.
Yeah, true.
As per reports...
Well, here's my question, right? Because usually when you go places, and we do live in America, so we have a lot more fat people than other places, but, you know, usually when you do when you have the capacity of a room, we'll say, you know, because there's a certain weight capacity that every room has. Usually, holy fuck. Usually, it's, okay. It's like, oh, you can only have 300 people in here. But how many people does a fat person count as? Because it's about space, right? It's like, oh, you can only let like 300 people in here based on space so they can get out if there's an emergency. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, what happens? Like, do you have to have like the fire department come and inspect the amount of obesity in the room? Like, it's a real question. I'm not kidding. I kind of am, but I'm not really kidding. Like, how do you do that?
The Philadelphia Inquirer. This is a first-of-its-kind conference, aims to communicate that a significant number of Philadelphians are comfortable with their body size and proud of it. Look, I don't think...
Like, I'm confident in my body size, but I want to change it, right? Because I want to be healthier. I really don't care about being, like, less fat, to be honest with you. I really care about being healthier, but obviously I need to lose weight for that to happen. You know, but it's just fucking wild to me, man. I don't know. It just sounds like a bunch of people who are like, is there going to be like a free gym access or something? I don't know.
I think that being overweight is anything to be proud of. That's a delusion. That's a cope.
But it's definitely a cope, yeah.
Being overweight is something you accept, you deal with. It's something when you're alone with your thoughts, you think, man, I wish I wasn't overweight.
I'll wish that in front of people.
I live in the fattest state in the fattest country on earth. And I can promise you, not a single fat person here is proud of being fat. It's ridiculous.
Speak for yourself, bro.
Philadelphia, with its reputation for indulgent food items like cheesesteaks, hoagies, roast pork sandwiches, scrapple. If you ever want to know what scrapple is, that's always an interesting ingredients for you to look up. The pizza already attracts attention for its contribution to the gastronomical landscape. It's reported that 68% of adults in Philadelphia are overweight or obese, as are 41%.
Oh, wait, it's in Philadelphia? Where is that? I'm a kind of an idiot. Where's Philadelphia, dude? That pen. I'm gonna look it up before I say it. Philadelphia is in Pennsylvania. Okay, I knew that. Oh, it's in Philadelphia. I thought it was in Washington. We should go to... I'm going to ask my wife if she wants to go to FatCon. I'm going to ask her.
Of youth between ages...
Because if we do go to FatCon, there are some really good buffets in Pennsylvania.
6 and 17. Now, when you're an adult... When you're an adult and you're overweight, these are the choices that you've made. People are okay with it. I know I'm never going to have a six-pack. I just don't want to, I just don't want to, I
mean, Jeremy's not really that fat that people would really make fun of him. I mean,
have a massive coronary at 42.
That's fair, though.
So that's why I'm trying to
eat healthier,
lose weight. I don't think anybody who's overweight is inherently a bad person because I think it's what the things that you do, the things that you say that make you who you are. It's not your overweightness.
Yeah, I mean, it's one small identity, and people shouldn't be defined by one identity, right? Like that's the way that I look at it. But it's still good to work on, you know.
But where I have a problem is when you look at the kids. 41% of those kids starting life overweight.
How the fuck do I get
41%? I mean, these kids are going to have...
Yeah, I was a big baby. I think I was 2 feet tall and like 9 and almost 10 pounds. I was a big fucking kid, bro. It was wild. Wild. Wild.
Diabetes, all this stuff. And they're adults who are overweight can take responsibility for their choices. Why is Jeremy overweight? Sedentary lifestyle.
Well, I'm overweight because of some of the things we didn't do fitness too well. Well, actually, that's not necessarily true. When I was younger, I was always like a big kid, but I used to be very athletic. Like I used to go to the YMCA a lot, play a lot of sports, do a lot of things. It wasn't until like computers that I really kind of stopped, and then that's when things got a little less healthy. It's just interesting. I think a lot of it has to do with like we are struggling to adjust to technology rapidly becoming a thing, right? Like back in the day, when I was growing up, we'd go outside and ride bikes every day and blah 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 and all that other cool stuff, and that was awesome. But then you get a little older, and and nowadays that's not necessarily the status quo, and so a lot of, for me, some of it really was just that adjustment. People don't really think of it like that, especially since it's fucking scary to be outside now because you never know what's gonna happen. I don't know. I feel like the world is like afraid of everything now. Because you see social media shit all the time about like some fucked up shit that's going on. It terrifies you. At least me. In some aspects, Like I saw a fucking video of like a pit bull like fucking killing a guy like yesterday on the street, like old man. I'm like, Jesus Christ. You know what I mean? Like what happens if that was happening to me? But then you're living in a paralyzed state of fear all the time, and that's probably not healthy either.
Poor eating and alcohol. These are all things that Jeremy can control every day when he gets up. He can work out, he can eat healthy, and he can back off alcohol. When they're a kid, when you're 7, 8, 9 years old, in my opinion, if you're cramming all this kind of food down your kids' throats, making them obese, that's abuse.
Yeah, I think there's an argument to be made there.
It's like when people have dogs that are super fat. I'm like,
I think it's like neglect, right? Like, I mean, instead of feeding your kid actual like home cooked meals, you're feeding your kid like fucking fast food. I think that there's a conversation that should be had. Holy fuck! I think that there's a conversation that should be had about like that and how we could properly deal with that, because our country doesn't even. We need to start. It starts in the school, right? Like teaching kids eating healthy. What is funny, and it's a funny thing because conservatives are the one that's complaining. I don't know if Jeremy complained about it, but I wouldn't doubt it. Is that Michelle Obama offered healthy meals in schools, and everybody cried and complained about it, and they overturned it. I think Trump overturned it, and it's like, well, that's what we need? And it's so funny that people shit on Michelle. Oh, the food doesn't taste good anymore. It's healthy. It's like, good? Like, that's the point. People's taste buds are so fucking desensitized by like the addictive fast foods and sugars that they think that like decent food doesn't taste good anymore. That's the problem, right? And then we fucking shit on Michelle Obama for that. It's just interesting.
Like, the dog doesn't choose what it eats. I mean, cats are a little different. Sometimes you have fat cats no matter what you do. I have
what? Why are cats? No, just okay.
Colt, who is a massive gargantuan boy.
All right, you're feeding your cat.
My cats already eat diet food, and they get less than the minimum, and all this kind of stuff. But like when somebody has a dog that has to get
what the fuck, dude? It's funny. He's criticizing people with fat dogs. He has fat cats. Like cats are different. Clearly, you're not doing what you're saying.
Put down early because it's 100 pounds overweight. That's the owner's fault. You're the one giving them pizza off the table.
Hey,
the dog eats what you say.
If I'm eating it, he's
the dog
eating
eats.
It. If I'm eating it, he's eating it.
FatCon is Philadelphia's first convention celebrating obesity. See, this is where I have a problem.
Ah, fuck.
Obesity is not to be celebrated.
Hey, we celebrate Christmas, and that guy's fat as fuck. Santa Claus, you know what I'm saying, dude?
Donnell Yeagman, I don't care who these people are pioneering a movement supposedly celebrates body diversity with Philly FatCon.
Philly FatCon.
A unique convention scheduled for October at Temple University. The convention is meant to go beyond buzzwords like body positivity and body neutrality to promote an atmosphere where individuals can celebrate their bodies without apology.
I mean, the real question is how many skinny people are going to be there making fun of fat people? That's what I really want to know. How many fucking skinny people are there making fun of fat people? Because that'd be kind of funny. I mean, it's wrong, but...
There's nothing to celebrate about being overweight. It doesn't make you a bad person. If you give your dog a little bit of table scraps here and there, that doesn't make you a bad person either.
What are you talking about dogs for?
It's the things that you do.
Weirdo.
Now, if you feed your dog, McDonald's cheeseburgers every day, and just because the dog likes it, of course they like it. Who doesn't? If you are a little bit overweight or whatever, look, I agree that, Hollywood and things like that do set unreasonable standards for young women.
It's like the most nuanced, intelligent take I've ever seen the Quartering give. Is actually impressive. Holy fuck. Like, yeah, true. And part of it is like the way that we talk about diet culture in Hollywood. Just or in like the mainstream in general. We would glorify TV shows that were like, hey, you lost 10 pounds in a week? That's good. No, it's not. Crash dieting is not consistent. It's not good to crash diet. You need to go on like a sustainable lifestyle choice. Like, my wife and I have been on like our health journey since the end of last year, and we really just started like losing weight now. And a lot of people look at that as like, oh, you've been failing. I don't agree, because we've been making better choices, like healthier choices overall. Like, our point was like, let's do stuff that we will actually stick with so that we'll sustain. And let's not necessarily worry about like losing weight right now. Let's just worry about trying to eat better. And then slowly we're going to obviously get there, because we've tried losing weight so many times and it's worked, obviously. And then we stop because we're not able to maintain it. Because like something goes on and we're trying to figure out better ways to deal with those protocols. That's really our priority. So yeah, I mean, I think people need to kind of shift gears and stop trying to lose weight, which you should want to lose weight, but stop trying to lose weight and focus more on trying to build like a new pattern, a new like lifestyle pattern. Focus on doing that and slowly getting yourself into it. And because you have to change yourself forever. Like if you want to lose weight, you have to eat better and exercise forever. It's not like something that you do for a little bit and stop. And I feel like that's like some of the ways people like look at it. It's like, oh, I did it. I lost 10 pounds. I'm done trying. It's like, no, you have to like really keep going.
Filters on Snapchat and TikTok. It sets unreasonable standards for kids, which lead to eating disorders.
Sure.
And all this kind of things.
Sure.
That's all fine to combat. But when you go so far past and you say, this is something to celebrate, no, it is not. The organizers aspire to make FatCon a judgment-free zone, fostering community spirit among individuals who often feel overlooked. Let me tell you something. If you're 400 pounds, you are literally never, ever, 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 ever overlooked. Everyone sees you.
That's funny. That's actually very
Everyone
funny.
sees you.
Oh,
Everyone knows
funny.
who you are. It is undeniable.
That's fucking funny as hell, man.
The event aims to provide an alternative perspective to navigate a world fraught with so-called fatphobia.
I mean, listen, we do have a world full of like fatphobia, but I mean, the problem is the overcorrection, right? Like, they're not like, this isn't saying, hey guys, people are fat phobic. Like, what I would consider like unacceptable, like hatred to fat people is like bullying a fat person for like their mere existence. Like going on social media and be like, oh, look at this fat fuck, like fuck you, just because they're existing. You know what I mean? If you're on social media and saying that you're the most attractive person in the entire world, then I can see why people might make a comment. But I've seen like people that are just fat, they make a video, they just make a silly video that has nothing to do with their weight, and then people like bully them. Like, that's wrong. You shouldn't be doing that. You shouldn't look at people on the street and make them feel less than because they're fat, right? That's wrong. But you should not be fat, right? Like, we should, you shouldn't be celebrating it. It should just be like, okay, that you're still a person is really the main narrative here. So the fat convention, I don't know. It sounds fun though. I want to go. It really does not sound fun. It sounds like it's going to be like a big jerk off festival, like justifying bad behavior, but I still want to go for the memes.
I don't know what kind of, again, when you use a phobia, you're talking about an unnatural, an illogical fear.
Yes. And that there are people with an unnatural, like, illogical fear or dislike of fat people.
What illogical or unnatural fears of fat people exist?
I mean, it's funny because he agrees with fatphobia, but he doesn't like it's clearly he just doesn't like the label of fatphobia. That's pretty clear to me. It's more of like he's like, oh, well, it's okay to not want to be fat, but he acknowledged before some of the issues that people shouldn't be bullied for being fat. So
I don't know one. Is there a secret contingent of people that believe people who are overweight are...
Bro, the worst thing would be if this fat thing doesn't have good food. That would be the worst. Like, that would be terrible. Like, that would be completely... Like, I wouldn't get it, I just wouldn't be able to understand that. That would be fucking wild. Because what else could you really go there for? Imagine the food was, like, awful. There better be fucking all buffets. That's what I'm looking for.
Secretly demonic reptile people who eat other humans. Most people look at somebody who's obese and is like, I hope I'm not sitting next to them. I understand. I don't think that's fat phobia. Because, if you don't want to sit next to a fat person because they're fat, I get that. Because, they might take up a lot of this, like, specifically in, like, when you're on an airplane. I totally get that. I don't think that's fat phobic, to be honest with you. I think it's fat phobic when you, like, bully somebody, you know what I mean? Like, that's wrong, but, like, I get it. Don't be rude, though. If you're ended up sitting next to me, like, you're gonna have to cope. You can not want to do it. You can text your friend that I'm a big, fat, chunky, lardy, fat fucking piece of shit. I think that that's acceptable. But, don't make me aware of it. That's where it becomes disrespectful and rude. So, just make sure you be hateful proportionately. Be hateful proportionately. Say this as somebody who purposely, when I buy tickets on a plane or whatever, I make sure I get a seat that is a window seat and a single seat, so no one has to sit next to me. So I don't, my fat roll doesn't go over the armrest.
Jesus, you're not that fat. What the fuck?
Oh, they might trip and fall on me. That's actually not irrational, so it doesn't make it a phobia.
I also don't like sitting next to fat people though. Because then neither of us, you know what I mean? Like, I'm already fat enough for the both of us, brother. You know what I'm saying? Can't be doing that.
With panel discussions on fashion, coping with fat phobia, with panel discussions of fat phobia and social media influencing, topped off with a keynote address by the fat bedroom therapist. The conference seems to be more inclined towards self-expression and acceptance, rather than focusing on health, exercise, and weight loss. There is a fat-friendly fitness class, though.
Oh, that's good. Well, I wonder what that's like. I wonder if it's any good, or if it's like bullshit.
Convention will conclude with a plus swap plus shop event.
Okay, I'm
providing attendees with the opportunity to acquire plus-size clothing items.
Wow, this sounds pretty good. If it's just about finding plus-size clothing, maybe it won't be so bad. If it was a convention, it was like, hey guys, we're having a convention for fat people who want to eat food and learn how to the proper diet culture, and exercise and find clothing. I'd be like, oh, this is actually fucking base, Yeah. What about the food?
The idea
Jeremy?
for the three-part convention was born after the second annual Plus Swap, Philadelphia's largest plus-size clothing swap, founded by Yeagman in 2021. Realizing the need for a larger, inclusive event. I mean, you can get plus-size clothes anywhere.
Nah, that's not true, Jeremy. Shut your fucking dumb mouth, okay, idiot. I'm sorry. That's just not true. It's hard to get clothing for big people. Jeremy's not really fat. He's a fake fat. He's a fake. He's a poser. I'm fat. All right, it's hard to find clothes for me, especially for women. Like, it's very difficult to find like decent plus size clothing for women that's not morbidly expensive. So it's not true that you can just find it anywhere. That's just like some silly goosery that Jeremy's he's just coming out of his mouth.
I mean, I get my shirts from DXL. Plus, there's the internet.
It's hard to fucking.
I mean,
women are also
Philly FatCon.
There's more like styles for women too. I think it's the hardest for women to find clothing because there's so many different styles too. You know, so it'd be like, oh, well, you can go online. It's like, yeah, you could, but it's not that easy when, you know, you're expected to dress like a fucking fashionista every day as a woman. As a guy, just throw on a shirt and I'm fucking done, you know? It's a little easier for dudes, I think.
I just don't understand. Look, there's no reason to be, like, mean to these people. But I think you are causing genuine harm.
I don't think it's
genuine harm.
I don't think it's that big of a deal. I think it's a bad. I don't think it's a good thing. I don't think we're causing like horrible like levels of harm. But maybe I'm just fucking dumb and wrong. I don't know.
When you're out there saying, "Oh yeah, this is good. This is celebrating. We should be celebrating." Blah 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 blah.
Celebrate my balls.
I don't think that that's good. I think that that is a negative thing. That is bad for youth.
Okay.
It is a bad message to be sending. There is a message of, hey, just because somebody's overweight doesn't make them a bad person, that I support 100%. But just like everything nowadays, we have to go to the other extreme.
That's true. Yeah.
Like, I support teaching people that, like, you shouldn't be, you know, name-calling. Kids shouldn't be name-calling. All this stuff is fine. But when you have a convention that's saying, oh, this is good. It's good, actually. We should celebrate it, actually.
Okay. Point
does
received.
far more damage than any good. It's a huge cope fest.
Point received.
That's what it is.
Understood,
You can get up and go and travel across the country to go to a fat fest convention, then you can get on the treadmill. That's all.
Treadmill's kind of lame, by the way. You're better off walking outside, in my opinion. Treadmill is just kind of like, it's just boring, you know? You're just like walking in place. I think it's silly goosery.
I'm saying.
Go walk inside. Go get some nature. Oh, I guess that was the whole video. Okay. Cool. All right. Well, that was interesting. You certainly got me with that one, guys. I was definitely interested in that video there.